So in order to make this granny square pattern, you are going to need a few things. The first is as many different colors of worsted weight yarn as you want. I'm going to be using a sage green color, a clay color, a mustard color, a cream color, and a black color. You will also need a 5.5mm hook, a pair of scissors, and a darning needle, which I don't have here, but I will be using one to weave in my ends. So this cardigan is made up of granny squares, and I have a few different versions. I have solid black ones, as well as different colored ones. And I'm going to show you how to make both. The pattern of the granny square itself is just a basic granny square pattern. So you're going to start with one color, and I'm going to start with my black yarn, and you're just going to make a slip knot. And then you're going to put your hook through there and pull on the string attached to the yarn to tighten. So now that you have that, you're going to chain 4. And I'm sorry, I am using black yarn, so it's a little bit difficult to see. I apologize for that. Anyways, you're going to slip stitch into the first chain, so this one right here. If you don't know what a slip stitch is, you just put your hook through, grab the yarn, pull through that, and then pull through what's on your hook too. And that'll make a little loop. So from here you're going to chain 3. And the chain 3 always counts as a stitch in this pattern. So now you're going to add 2 double crochets into this hoop. So a double crochet, yarn over, into the hoop, grab the yarn, pull it through the hoop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So after you do that first double crochet, you're going to add 1 more into the same spot. So now you have 3 double crochets in total. So now you're going to chain 2 and go right back in the same loop with 3 double crochets. And as you can see, your work is starting to corner off, which is exactly what you want. So from here you're going to chain 2 and put 3 double crochets. Now you're going to chain 2 and put your last double crochet cluster, is what we'll call them, into the same hoop. So you're going to chain 2 and then you're going to slip stitch to the top of the original chain 3. And this is the end of your first row. You just have to cut the yarn and try to show it. So you should have 4 clusters of 3 double crochets and 4 chain 2 spaces. So now you're just going to cut and tie your yarn. And grab your second color. So I'm going to use this sage color for my row 2. So you're just going to make a slip knot and put it on your hook, and you're going to slip stitch to any chain 2 space on your row 1, so any corner. After you attach with a slip stitch, you're going to chain 3. And then you're going to put 2 double crochets right beside that. And now you're going to chain 2 and put 3 double crochets in the same spot. And as you can see, that is starting to corner off like that, which is exactly what you want. So from here, so you just put your chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and now you're going to chain 1. And then you're going to go right over to this next corner and you're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and repeat that for these next 2 corners. So this is what your work should be looking like. You just did your 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1 in your last corner, and now you're going to connect the row by slip stitching to the top of the starting chain 3. There, so now you're going to cut and tie this yarn. So for row 3, I'm going to use this cream color, and we're going to attach to the granny square in the same way by slip stitching in the corner. And also just a tip for the granny squares. So I like to choose a right side and a wrong side so that when I weave in my ends, they're all on one side, and I can put that side on the inside of my cardigan. So the pretty side without any ends to weave in is facing outwards, and it just looks a lot cleaner, and you'll be able to tell which side is your wrong side if you go to row 1 and you see the original center tail, and that was your starting slip knot. So we're just going to attach our cream color with a slip stitch. Chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So at this point, you've just done your first corner, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to put 3 double crochets into this chain 1 space from the previous row. Like that. And now you're going to chain 1 again, and do your regular corner pattern in the corner. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Again, you're just going to chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, the corner pattern. Repeat that till the end. So basically row 3 is what you're going to be doing for rows 4, 5, and 6. I'm not going to show the entire square because it's pretty well the same row. All you do is in the corner spaces, you're going to do your pattern, and then you're going to chain 1 after those, and in these new holes right here. So you see in the last row, we only had 1, and that's why we only added 1 cluster, but you see now we have 2. So right here and right here. So in those, we are going to, from here, chain 1, 3 double crochets into this hole, chain 1, 3 double crochets into this hole, chain 1, and then do our corner pattern. I will also link a tutorial to this granny square pattern. There's a bunch of them out there because, like I said, this is a very basic granny square pattern. So that is how I do my colored granny squares, and again, I'm going to do that for 6 rows. So here are a few of the different ones that I have. The pattern for the plain black granny square is very simple. I actually wasn't planning on including just solid colors in my cardigan, but then I began to look at all of the ends that I'm going to have to weave in at the end of this, and the solid black ones just seemed a lot more appealing. Once you have your slip knot, you're just going to chain 4 again and do your regular row 1. So I'm here at the end of row 1. I'm just going to slip stitch to connect the round just like every other square. And here is where you would normally chain 1 and cut and tie the row, but that's not what I'm going to be doing to keep the solid black yarn going. I'm going to instead slip stitch to the top of these 3 double crochets to get to this space. This first double crochet, slip stitch, this next one, slip stitch, and your third slip stitch should be into this chain space. And it's really that simple. And now we're at the spot where we would normally attach our yarn, so then you would just chain 3 and go on with your row 2. So now 2 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1, next corner. That's basically all you do. So I'm still in the planning stage of my cardigan. I don't know how many squares I'm going to need. I wanted to make enough so that I could get a construction plan going, and then I will add more or take them away. I have about 15 right now, and I'm estimating about maybe 20. So yeah, I don't know. I will let you know how many you need in a few seconds. I have successfully separated all my panels to seam. So I just tried a bunch of different seaming options, and I think the one that works the best is just a slip stitch, but as you can see, you can hardly see anything. I'm just going to slip stitch all of my granny squares together, and I will be back with the assembly of the panels. Here are my panels all seamed together. Hello, so I'm back. It's been a few days, and as you can see, I already attached half of the cardigan, and I'm going to walk through doing the other half. I actually almost gave up on this project because after I seamed this together, the sleeve was too short, it felt a bit too tight, and looking back, I feel like I should have maybe added another row of the black to every square. So I'm going to finish off the cardigan, and if it's a bit tight, then that's what I recommend you do if you follow this. I did make it work with the sleeves. I attached my yarn and I added a few rows of double crochets to make it a bit longer. So now I have my panels wrong side facing out, so wrong side, and I'm going to attach my yarn at the bottom corner here and then work my way up, slip stitching to the armpit area and then slip stitching down the sleeve, and then stop here at the end of the sleeve. I just finished seaming up the side and up the sleeve, so now for the last bit of seaming, I'm just going to start at this shoulder and seam all the way to the end of the sleeve at the top. Here is what my cardigan looks like at this point. I have a bunch of ends to weave in, but all of my panels are attached and it is turned right side out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen the sleeves a bit with a few rows of just regular double crochets. And then I'm going to attach my yarn up here and double crochet all the way around the cardigan a few times just to finish it off. I tried doing the lining, putting double crochets in every stitch, but I'm actually going to change it because it started to increase and look a little just not as clean as I wanted it to. So I'm going to attach my yarn in the same place but I am going to work the border just like how I did the granny squares. I'm going to chain 3, put 2 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, all the way around. So that's what I'm going to do for my border instead.